hello, everybody. Welcome to All Things Spice podcast. My name is Zanile and I am your host. I'm super excited to have you. For those that are listening for the first time, very warm welcome to you. For those of you who are returning listeners, thank you so much for all the support and just continuing on this journey with me. I really appreciate it. And I do hope that you enjoyed today's episode. So today I'm going to be speaking about developing new or existing skills. And it's probably going to be a shorter episode. I mean, I don't know. Let's just see how it goes. But what actually sparked this topic was something that happened like 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks ago. And yeah, I'll just share that with you, and then I'll discuss with you some examples of, skills. And then I'll also just go into some practical ways in which we can actually implement this and improve the skills that we have, or actually if it's just maybe starting from scratch. Okay, so what happened was 2.5 weeks ago, we went for a team lunch, and it was at this beautiful, amazing Asian restaurant. It was a really beautiful setup, quite top notch. At least we were dressed to the occasion because we were coming from a client planning meeting, and we were just dressed quite formally. But anyways, that's not the point. So we get there and then we order our starters, we order our main meals. So the starters was just more of, we just chose, like mutually chose a few things so that we would share. And then, the starters came through, and part of the starters was sushi. And like, I enjoy sushi, right? But it's not something that I would just order for just go out there and be like, oh, I'm really craving sushi. Because I know there are people out there that are like really fans of sushi, and they enjoy it. So anyways, the sushi was ordered, the sushi came, and there were chopsticks. So I don't know how to use chopsticks, and I was very, open about it. Like, I tell my team, I don't know how to use chopsticks, so I'm going to use a fork. And I didn't feel like excluded, or I didn't feel like there was something wrong with me or anything. But I'm just like, no, girl, you just actually need to learn how to use chopsticks, because it's happened before where I was back in, when I was back in South Africa, we had a team lunch, but this was in Joburg, and we ordered, this was Asian food, but at this time I think it was noodles. So I just told my team again, like, I can't use chopsticks. So I think it's just a mind thing. And I just haven't set myself to actually learn how to use. And I think it's a good skill to have, right? Because what must happen if I need to go to Japan, or I don't know, China, and, I can't use chopsticks. Like, it's a major part of their culture, and this is something that's just good to know how to use. So that's what sparked this conversation. I was like, actually, there's many other things, and there's just many other skills that we might overlook. 1, 2, there are just many other skills that we might have, but we don't bother to actually work on them and develop them further. And yeah, it's just this shouldn't be the case, right? So there's so many examples really of the different types of skills that are out there. There's written and verbal communication, there's teamwork, there's conflict resolution, there's adaptability, there's problem solving, there's negotiation, there's time management, there's listening, reading, typing. And I'll tell you about the last one that I mentioned there, being typing. It wasn't originally on the list. Then I actually just remembered it. So I recognized that I was actually not so great at typing when I was in my first year of articles, and we had to take board minutes, not board minutes. We had to take minutes of meetings. And I just used to struggle to keep up, and then I would have to write on the side, like in my notebook, and then I would have like a piece of information somewhere hanging on the top right corner of the page, and then everything is just messy, basically. And then I recognized, no, I actually struggle with this, so I went onto one of these websites. Now I can't remember the name of the website. And I started doing typing classes or typing lessons. It was a free website, which is really cool. I did it for a few weeks. I didn't pursue and finish it. I think if I had, I would have been like top notch at typing at this point. But fact is, at least I tried, and I actually improved on my typing skills. So, and as much as sometimes I do revert back to writing in my notebook, I actually recognized it, and then I tried to, improve on it. So that was just a side note to all of this. But yeah, typing is definitely one. And then with the other two that I wanted to highlight that I am sort of currently in the process of working on, and just to share like my experiences so far with, working on those skills. So the first one being reading. Reading books. So whether be it reading for leisure or reading for purposes of staying up to date. So I just struggled to read books. And the thing is, the excuse would always be time. I don't have time to be reading books. If it was like back in varsity, I would be like, it's even worse then, because I have like my studies to focus on, and I've got enough textbooks to be reading. But I just recognize that when these conversations are being had, like economic things going on, current affairs going on, at least these days there's a compensating mechanism, which I'll talk about just now. But just reading is important. Reading, if you're reading a leadership book, if you're reading a book on finances, if you're reading a book on just some self-development, it's just important to read, right? So what I've tried to do is obviously set myself a couple of goals to say I want to read maybe a book every 2 months, at least one book every 2 months. I've also tried to incorporate like time in my schedule to just, even if it's 30 minutes, to read. um I know a lot of people who, for example, read whilst they're commuting. So now there's audiobooks as well. I'm not really a fan, or I haven't really tried it, to be honest, of audiobooks. I haven't tried audiobooks really, but apparently those are quite helpful. Or, as I said, the compensating mechanism for, or alternative, I must say. Yeah, mechanism sounds so technical. Sounds so technical. Um, yeah, so the alternative to, keeping up with current affairs as through like reading articles and stuff is to listen to the news, or podcasts that have like short. For me, I just need like a short, something that will just give me like a short overview of what's going on in the markets. So that has really been helpful, and that has helped me because I realized that also with the nature of the work that I do, these conversations are going to come up, and um, you cannot be clueless on such things. So yeah, those are the two that I would say I've been like really trying to implement. And then there's like some other ones that obviously I know, like, okay, these ones are quite a priority, but still, I don't want to focus on too many at the same time, because then it's just gonna overwhelm me, and then I'm just not gonna do it. So that now brings me to the last section, where I want to speak about the practical ways in which we can develop a new skill or improve on the skill set that we currently have. So as I've already mentioned, firstly, like, don't try focus on 10 at a time, because then you're going to feel overwhelmed, and then you're just not going to action any of them at all. So focus on one or two, and then, when you feel like, okay, it's just now okay, then you can move on to another one. And then the next point is read articles or books on whatever skill you are working on. So whether it's cooking is also a skill, as an example. If you want to improve on your cooking skills, like, I don't know, find a cooking book. There's a lot of books on time management. There's a lot of books on just communication. That is very helpful. And then you can also try find classes or platforms that give this kind of information. So if you think about, for example, Udemy has some free classes, some you have to pay for. There's also platforms like YouTube that really help. There's just so much information on YouTube. You just literally need to search it and just know to sift through the information, because obviously not all of it is credible. And also just obviously take everything with a pinch of salt, because anyone can add anything on YouTube. So that's also a good platform. And you can also use work. So I know a lot of places that have trainings on these, additional skills, and even like more deeper skills, like technological advancement and, finance courses. Some companies do provide. So I think it's a matter of actually just speaking to people. That brings me to my next point. Speak to people. So the people that you work with, or if you have a mentor, speak to your mentor. I think that really helps to point you in the right direction, to give you advice, and also to have accountability, because I can't stress, like, I can't stress it enough how it's important to just have accountability in life. And the funny thing with accountability is different people can have different areas of your life that they are accountable, that they have accountability for in your life. So it doesn't have to be one person that you know are speaking to. You speak to different people. So maybe your mentor will have accountability in terms of what skill sets you are currently working on. Your good friend Jane will have responsibility or accountability in terms of some of your physical well-being goals that you're working towards. Someone else can have the accountability in the spiritual aspect of your life. So accountability is just, it's just important. And then the last piece of advice I would say really is to practice. Practice, look for opportunities, because there's no point in having it somewhere at the back of your subconscious to say, okay, I need to improve on my time management, and you write it down, but you actually don't practice it. So if for you, dealing with time management means that you have, you plan out your day, you schedule your day, and you've sort of come up with that aspect, and you have focus times that you set do not disturbs during your day, and you have that written down, but you actually don't practice it, then it's just never really going to improve or become better. Yeah, that's just my take on it. So those are the few points that I have. I am more than open and more than happy to have further discussions with you around this topic. So definitely, please do drop me a message. I have an email address now that I'm looking for, because I did not save it. Let's see if I can find it quickly. Okay, maybe I'll post it. I'll talk about the new email in the next episode, because I apparently cannot find it at this point. But yeah, definitely do drop me a message, and we can chat about anything that you want to ask regarding this topic. In the meantime, keep well, stay safe, and as usual, keep loving whilst living.